What's up, guys? Mass Mechanics here, and welcome back to the channel. Finally, we're gonna say goodbye to our Camaro build here. It's been a long road, and this is probably the first car I think we covered on the channel. So let's say goodbye to her and enjoy it. After a sabotage video, this is where I left off. This is the whole harness that we have to put in the car to get this thing on the road again and fix all the damage that was done. Already made room for the new harness to go in. As you can see, it was a new harness to begin with, so we have all the wire ends that go forward because that's all good. The wire ends that go to the back of the car, those are all good, so we got those set aside, and then all the harness that's set up for the inside, so we got to put it in. Understate the monotony of this kind of work, but it has to be done, and it has to be done right, and that's why we ended up having to cut out the majority of the harness. We wired the front and the back of the car. The other individual who's gone did the rest of it, and that's what we all cut out. There was a lot of hidden things we found, unfortunately, crimped wires that weren't done right, wedged under seats. It was a mess, so we had to cut it all out and start fresh. See, it's starting to take shape. Everything's going where it belongs. It's just a lot of lining up and getting right. Now we're just making a new fuse box mount because before it was just wedged in there, and that was part of the poor install, so we couldn't leave it that way. So now we're going to make it right and safe. And here it is installed in the car. You can see how it's mounted now. It's safe and sturdy, so we don't have to worry about it, and it makes it a lot more accessible now for the fuses. So now it's time to start wrapping these wires up, making them look good. This is the process on just one wire. We're soldering on each end and connect them and then put the heat shrink over it. Now 200 more times and we're done. Maybe even 300-400. We'll see. Still looks pretty ugly, but everything is connected and we're starting to make headway here and get things routed the proper way. It'll be nice and clean when we're done, and everything will be tucked away and secured properly. All right, so now we got all the relays set up. We're starting to hook up all the connectors for all the switches, the headlight switch, the wipers, and this is the main plug for your column. So we're getting there and making headway, so it's coming along really good. All right, now we're in the test phase for some of the switches, and also we got our rear harness completed, and it's all routed. You can see it's all tucked in nice in the factory grommet there, or the hold downs, I should say, and then it's run right down the back and tucked away nice and clean, and it'll clear the rear seat, because before the rear seat was so jammed in there on the wires the way it was run, we had a heck of a time getting that rear seat out, so now it'll be done right. Now we got the MSD box wired in right, you got the column in and set up, and all that's working now. Got those switches all set up. You can see how the routing is starting to take shape under the dash. Starting to get that done. Just a few more wires to tidy up, and we should be in business. It took a long time to get to this stage, I can tell you that. Now we're setting up all the gauge wiring, because most of these gauges are actually electronic, which is cool. But what we did was we made a bulkhead connector for it, so that way it just plugs right in one plug, so that makes it a lot easier to diagnose any issues and remove it if we ever have to work on it again. But with everything the way it's laying out now, we shouldn't have to. Now we're on the home stretch with this wiring disaster. Just about done. Got the gauges all in and set up and working, so that's all good. Just a few more wires to go and we can start working, getting it running. See that it's really starting to take shape. It's starting to tidy up nice and clean. Got a bunch of stuff to put back in and get this whole interior back together and cleaned up and detailed and ready to go. Seat brackets that we had to put in Our friend that's no longer with us that I spoke of had the seat tracks all bent up so the seat wouldn't move right. So we got that all fixed and straight again. We got everything set up wiring-wise back here. That's all done. And now it's time to get the seats ready to go in. Got the console in too and all wired up. No issue there. Now we can finally start to see the finished product. We got everything back together in that interior. Got all the wiring all set up and finished. And you can check it out. It came out really nice. Still have a little bit more cleaning and detailing to do before it says goodbye, but we're on the home stretch now with it. As you can see, it's looking really clean. The interior came out nice. This is all your factory stuff. There's your fast handheld that runs a fuel injection. New seat covers, new carpet. I mean, pretty much everything on this car was brand new. It's got a 6-speed manual. 383 with about 500 horse, fuel injected. 373 with a brand new posi unit. I believe it's from Yukon, if I remember correctly. Willwood brakes, front and rear. It's going to perform well. It's going to be a good driving car. I'm excited to see it on the road. I believe the shocks are all from Strange. It's just nice. I'm not a huge fan of the color, but this is the factory color, and that's what they wanted to stick with. This is all the factory interior for this car. All redone and new, but the factory color palette anyways. It's like 50 shades of green. The bodywork came out beautiful. I really do like those wheels. I do enjoy the original rallies, but I'll tell you, you can't go wrong with the 5 spokes either, and they're nice and wide to fit the nice wide tire. It'll help it perform better on the street, and it does give it a better look, I think, for this car in particular. She sure is clean, though. Good. Computer's got to self-learn. Old gas.
Running out of gas too.
Excuse me, sorry. getting some finishing touches done. Took it for a ride and it was just a little bit low in the back. Unfortunately, we liked the height, but the customer wanted to leave this trim in here, and to do that we weren't able to really detail out this as much as we would have liked to by rolling it or cutting it or reshaping it, making more tire room. So we didn't cut the tire, but it's just too close for our comfort. So what we did was we took the spacer out we used, had it cut down at a local good friend of ours who does some machining, had it cut down to where we want it and got it all back together. And now we're gonna take it for a ride and see how she does. Well, that's a wrap on the Camaro build, guys. It's been a really long road, but it's kind of nice to see it go at the same time, to move on to new things. So please like, subscribe, check us out on Instagram. We're the Mass Mechanics.